Did anyone else catch the UFO hearing? And if you guys did, what were your thoughts on it? And if you didn't even know there was a UFO hearing on 13th, there was, but you really didn't miss much.
Safe Airspace for Americans Act with Ranking Member Garcia, which requires the Federal Aviation Administration to develop procedures.
Ma'am, unfortunately,
I don't have the exact speed.
But
Again, a witness came to me, a credible former submarine officer who observed it on sonar data. And this was in the 80s in the North Atlantic during a storm, and it outpaced his submarine by orders of magnitude.
Are you aware of any hot spots that currently is for Mr. Gallaudet? To your knowledge, have any USOs ever outpaced our submarines?
Yes, ma'am.
At what magnitude?
Do any U.S. contractors have the same?
I would prefer to address in a closed session, ma'am. Address in a closed session, ma'am.
I would prefer to address in a closed session, ma'am.
It's a crazy idea, right? The hypocrisy and the logic.
Crazy. Yeah. A lot of the information that was presented, in my opinion, was just repeated information from what they did last year. A lot of people, I think, were expecting just a lot more in terms of evidence, like video evidence, photographic evidence. Which is weird because they didn't really present any of that, and they really didn't get really into the whole Immaculate Constellation program. I mean, they did kind of present a document, but they didn't really get into it that much, like at all, actually. Which is, I think, what a lot of people were hoping and expecting. So that was a big letdown, disappointment. And some of the witnesses, I think, were disappointing as well. Luis Elizondo, everyone's already heard of him for for an entire year already. So as far as witnesses go, yeah, I think they could have done better there. And like Mike Gold, he was just talking up, he came out of nowhere and
But I would call for and recommend a permanent office within NASA to support this activity, albeit likely a modest one.
I don't know. He's just really talking up NASA, really supporting this idea that we need to fund NASA more to investigate these things. But I mean, myself personally, I've never trusted NASA. So it's just I don't know. I don't know. Even though a lot of what he was talking about makes sense, but that is if we lived in an honest, just, and fair world, right? I think we all know the truth about the kind of world we live in, right? I know. Maybe it'll come down to Trump, right? And maybe Trump's crazy enough, and he has the spine to be the one to actually get this information out to the public.
One of the things that
there's a lot of interest in the people coming from space,
Yes.
And I know you're interested in that.
Oh, I'm very interested in that. How much did they tell you about that?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they tell you? Really?
Yeah.
What'd they tell you? How much can you tell?
So
how's that work? Is it super top secret?
I can tell,
Tell me.
Well, based on Hunter Biden, I can say whatever the hell I want, right? But no. But I interviewed a few people. It's never been my thing, I have to be honest. I have never been a believer. I have people that Area 51 or whatever it is, I think it's the #1 tourist attraction in the whole country or something. Area 51 in Las Vegas. Do you know that, right?
Sure, I know what it is.
So anyway, but it's a big tourist thing. So I interviewed jet pilots that say they saw something. If you saw them, you'd love to have them as
I've had a couple in here. Commander David Fravor,
Yeah.
I had him in, who had that sighting in 2004. Very,
Yeah.
very compelling with video
compelling.
evidence, radar evidence.
I interviewed
Brian Graves.
I don't believe his name, but I interviewed jet pilots that were solid people, perfect. I mean, great pilots, great everything. And they said, we saw things, sir, that were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was something. And it was going 4 times faster than an F-22, which is a very fast plane. You know?
And release, catastrophic or full disclosure. The kind of disclosure that we all want and hope for. So we'll see. Fingers crossed on that one, right? What else? I think that's it. I don't know. I was just left disappointed on the whole thing, pretty much.